Her hands trembled as she clutched the crumpled letter in the dim light of her tiny apartment. The notice was blunt, cold. "You are terminated, effective immediately." No warning, no explanation, just that one line printed on plain paper, sealing her fate. Maya stared at the words, disbelief pinching her chest. Fired after everything. The hospital where she had worked for nearly a decade, the place she had poured her heart into, was suddenly gone from her life. Outside, the rain hammered against the window, thick drops racing each other down the glass. It was the kind of night that felt like the world was closing in, like the storm outside was echoing the storm inside her. She sank onto the worn sofa, the letter slipping from her fingers. The silence of her apartment felt suffocating. The phone had stopped ringing. Her friends hadn't answered any of her texts. She was utterly alone. Her mind raced. How could this happen? What did I do wrong? She thought back to last week's hospital meeting, the harsh words from her manager, the rumors swirling behind closed doors. But none of it made sense. She was a good nurse, dedicated, compassionate. A sharp knock jolted her out of her thoughts. She looked toward the door, heart pounding. No one was supposed to be here. Another knock, louder this time. Tentatively, she opened the door to see a soaked figure struggling to stand in the pouring rain. A man, drenched, his face pale and contorted in pain. Before she could say a word, he collapsed at her feet. "Help me," he gasped, voice barely a whisper. Maya's instincts kicked in immediately. Despite the shock of her firing and the weight of despair crushing her chest, she dropped to her knees beside him. Her hands quickly checked his pulse, weak but there. The man was barely breathing. Blood trickled from a cut on his forehead, mixing with the rain. "Stay with me," she whispered, pressing her fingers against his neck, trying to steady her own trembling hands. She tilted his head back and cleared his airway. The world around her faded as she focused all her energy on saving this stranger. Minutes felt like hours. The cold seeped through her soaked clothes. Her breath came in ragged gasps, but then suddenly he coughed, a weak, wet sound that broke the silence. His eyes fluttered open, wide with confusion. "You're going to be okay," Maya said softly, brushing the hair from his face. The man tried to speak, but only a hoarse rasp escaped. Maya wrapped her coat around him and helped him sit against the wall. "I need to call an ambulance," she said, fumbling for her phone. Before she could dial, the man's eyes fixed on hers with a sharp intensity. "Please, not the hospital," he whispered. She frowned. "Why not? You need help." He shook his head slowly, struggling to catch his breath. "They're after me." A shiver ran down Maya's spine. Was he paranoid? Or was this real? "Who's after you?" she asked. He glanced nervously over his shoulder, as if the shadows outside might hide unseen threats. "Please," he begged, "just don't let them find me." Maya's mind raced. The logical side screamed to call emergency services. But something in his eyes, fear, desperation, held her back. "Okay," she said finally. "You can stay here for now, but you have to tell me what's going on." He nodded weakly, and she led him inside. The next hours blurred into a haze of whispered conversation and cautious glances out the rain-streaked windows. The man's name was Daniel. He refused to explain much, only dropping fragments. "Corporate secrets. Whistleblower," he muttered, voice hoarse. "They want me silenced." Maya listened, heart pounding. This was nothing like the quiet hospital life she knew. Danger, betrayal, something bigger than her. Despite the fear, she felt a surge of determination. Fired or not, she had saved a life tonight. Maybe this stranger's too. But the night was far from over. Morning light spilled weakly through the curtains. Daniel was asleep on the couch, pale and exhausted. Maya sat nearby, her mind spinning. She checked her phone, dozens of missed calls, messages from her old manager. Threats disguised as warnings, and then a knock on her door. Slow, deliberate. She froze. Heart hammering, she crept to the door and peeked through the peephole. 4 sleek black luxury cars were parked outside, their windows tinted dark, engines idling silently, no driver visible. Who were they waiting for? Was it Daniel or was it her? Maya backed away, breath catching. She didn't know what was coming next, but one thing was certain. Her life had just become a mystery she couldn't escape. The sleek black cars waited like silent predators outside Maya's building, their dark windows reflecting the morning haze. Maya pressed her forehead against the cool glass of the peephole, heart thundering. 4 luxury cars, an unmistakable sign of power and danger. Whoever was inside wasn't ordinary. She backed away slowly, then peeked out the window. No one was visible around the vehicles, but their presence was a message. They were here for her, or Daniel. Her phone buzzed suddenly, breaking the tense silence. It was a text from an unknown number. "Stop hiding. We know where you are." Maya's breath caught in her throat. She showed the message to Daniel, who stirred awake, eyes narrowing. "They're close," he said quietly. "I thought I lost them, but they must have tracked me." Maya swallowed hard. "Who are they?" Daniel hesitated. "A powerful corporation. I worked inside their legal department. I found evidence of crimes, fraud, illegal experiments. I tried to expose them, but they're ruthless." He paused, grimacing. "I don't think they want me alive." Maya's mind spun. She had just lost her job. Now she was sheltering a man hunted by dangerous people. Her world was unraveling fast. The sound of engines starting outside made them jump. From the window they saw the 4 cars pull away smoothly, vanishing into the city's fog. "Are they gone for good?" Maya asked. Daniel shook his head. "No, they'll come back. Soon." The next hours were a blur of whispered plans and frantic calls. Maya's phone rang non-stop, but she ignored most. She couldn't trust anyone. Not yet. She helped Daniel clean his wounds, doing what she could with her nursing skills. Despite her own fears, she felt alive in the chaos, like a spark of purpose returning, but shadows lurked everywhere. Suddenly, there was a loud banging at the building's front door. "Who is it?" Maya called, heart racing. No answer. The banging grew louder, more urgent. Someone was trying to break in. Maya grabbed a heavy lamp and moved to block the door. Daniel stood beside her, tense. The door handle rattled violently. "Run!" Daniel hissed. They ducked into the bedroom, locking the door behind them. Outside, muffled voices argued. The words were indistinct, but one phrase repeated over and over. "She's here!" Maya's pulse pounded in her ears. Who was she? Then footsteps receded. For a moment, silence. Then a faint knock. "Open the door." "We're not here to hurt you," a calm female voice said. Maya hesitated, heart hammering. Should she trust this stranger? Daniel whispered, "Don't trust anyone." "Not yet." They stayed silent. After a long pause, the voice left. The danger wasn't over, but for now they were alone. Maya sank against the wall, trembling. Daniel looked at her, eyes softening. "You saved my life," he said quietly. "Oh, you." She shook her head. "I'm just trying to survive." His gaze grew serious. "This is bigger than survival. If they catch me, everything I've tried to expose will be buried forever." Maya thought of her lost job, her shattered future. But something inside her steeled. "I won't let that happen." As night fell, they made a plan. Daniel had encrypted files on a hidden drive, evidence that could bring the corporation down, but it was locked behind layers of security. They needed help. Maya suggested an old friend, a tech expert who owed her a favor. Someone trustworthy, Daniel agreed, but as Maya dialed the number, her phone buzzed again, a video message. She pressed play. The screen showed a dimly lit room. A figure sat with their back to the camera. Then the figure slowly turned. Maya gasped. It was her former manager from the hospital. She spoke coldly. You thought losing your job was the worst? You're just getting started. The video cut off. Maya stared, frozen. Who was really behind her firing, and why was her old life crashing into this nightmare? The line between friend and enemy blurred. The night deepened, and the real game was about to begin. The cold blue light of Maya's phone screen glowed in the dark room. The image of her former manager still burned into her mind. The sharpness in that voice, the threat disguised as a warning, "You're just getting started." It was more than a threat. It was a promise. Maya sat on the edge of the bed, heart pounding, a million thoughts crashing at once. The weight of betrayal hit her harder than losing her job. Why had she been pushed out? And how did it connect to Daniel? Daniel, still pale and weak, watched her silently. "Your manager, she's part of this?" Maya shook her head slowly. "I don't know yet, but she's not just a hospital boss. There's more beneath the surface." She glanced at the clock. Midnight was near. Time was running out. They needed to move fast. The hidden files Daniel carried could bring a powerful empire crashing down, or get them both killed. Maya retrieved an old laptop from a dusty box under the bed. It was a relic, slow and clunky, but it was their only hope of connecting with Maya's tech friend. She dialed the number, her fingers trembling. The call rang twice before a voice answered. "Jade? It's Maya. I need your help. It's urgent." There was a pause, then a sigh. "Maya? Wow, I wasn't expecting to hear from you. What's going on?" Maya explained everything as quickly and clearly as she could. Her firing, Daniel's situation, the encrypted files. Jade's tone turned serious. "This sounds dangerous." "You sure you want me involved?" Maya swallowed. "I don't have a choice." Minutes later, Jade arrived, a sharp contrast to Maya's small apartment. Tall, confident, with eyes that missed nothing. She carried a sleek backpack and a laptop. "Let's see what we're dealing with," Jade said, dropping onto the sofa. Daniel handed her the USB drive. Jade plugged it in, her fingers flying across the keyboard. Lines of code scrolled rapidly. "This encryption's advanced," Jade said. "Whoever made this knows what they're doing." Suddenly her eyes widened. "Wait, there's a back door." Maya and Daniel leaned closer. "If I'm right, this back door lets someone inside the company access the files remotely." Daniel's face paled. "That explains the threats. They know I have this." Jade's fingers didn't stop. "I'm trying to trace the access point." The screen flickered. Then silence. A sudden beep. Jade's laptop froze. "We've been hacked," she whispered. The lights flickered, then went out. Darkness swallowed the room. A heavy knock rattled the door. "Police!" a rough voice called. Maya's heart slammed. "Open up, we have a warrant." Daniel looked to Maya, panic in his eyes. "They're here," Maya whispered urgently. "This is a setup. They're not the police." Jade pulled a small stun gun from her bag. "Get ready." The door handle jiggled violently. The knock turned into pounding. Maya grabbed Daniel's arm. "We have to escape." They darted to the back window, but it was barred. No way out. "Help!" Maya shouted. The pounding stopped abruptly. A cold silence. Then a voice crackled from the door speaker. "We know you're in there. Come out peacefully, and this will go easier." Maya's mind raced. How could they be so certain? Did the hackers have cameras? Jade whispered, "I'll try to create a diversion." She moved to the window and started hacking into the building's electrical panel. Suddenly, the lights flashed back on, then went off again. A loud alarm blared through the halls. Footsteps rushed outside. The pounding door was hit hard by a heavy boot. Maya, Daniel, and Jade squeezed into the cramped bathroom, locking the door behind them. The alarm's shrill sound drowned out everything else. Daniel gasped, "We need a plan." Maya's eyes searched the small room, then landed on the bathroom window, small, high up, but open just enough to slip through. "Help me clear this," she whispered. Jade and Daniel moved aside the rusty bars with a crowbar Jade pulled from her bag. The window was tight, but Maya slipped through first, landing in the alley below. "Go," she called. Daniel hesitated, weak and injured. Jade pushed him gently but firmly. Together, they ran through the rain-slicked streets, the alarm blaring behind them. They didn't stop until they reached a quiet cafe, far from the danger. Maya rapped, her arms around herself, cold and shaking. Daniel looked exhausted but alive. Jade checked the USB drive again. "This is bigger than any of us thought," she said. "These files, they expose illegal medical trials, money laundering, even murder." Maya's breath caught. "Murder?" Daniel nodded grimly. "The hospital, the firing. It's all connected." Maya felt the pieces falling into place. The betrayal, the silence, the danger. "We have to get this to the authorities," she said. Jade shook her head. "Not yet. The corporation's reach is long. We need proof they can't ignore." Maya's phone buzzed. A new message. "Stop or lose everything." She stared at the screen, anger and fear burning inside her. Suddenly, a shadow fell across the cafe window. Maya looked up. A man in a sharp suit stood outside, watching, his eyes locked onto hers, and then, with a cold smile, he disappeared into the crowd. Maya knew one thing. The fight wasn't over. It had only just begun. The man in the sharp suit vanished into the bustling crowd, but his presence lingered like a shadow over Maya's mind. Who was he? A threat or a potential ally? She couldn't tell. All she knew was that he was connected to the dark web of secrets that had tangled around her and Daniel. Maya pulled her coat tighter around her, shielding herself and Daniel from the cold drizzle. Jade watched both of them closely, her fingers tapping nervously on the USB drive's surface. The evidence was their only weapon, and their only hope. Back at the safe house, a nondescript apartment on the city's outskirts, Maya paced while Daniel rested on a threadbare couch. His injuries had worsened, and Maya's nursing skills were stretched thin. Every time he closed his eyes, Maya wondered if it would be the last time. "You're pushing yourself too hard," Daniel said softly. Catching her eye, Maya shook her head. "If I stop, they win." Daniel's lips pressed into a thin line. "We're already in their sights. We need a plan." Jade stepped forward, holding her laptop like a shield. "I've been tracing the corporate network. They've been watching us, but they're sloppy. We can use their surveillance against them." Maya frowned. "How?" Jade's fingers flew over the keyboard. "We'll hack their cameras and feed false information, create a distraction. Then we'll leak the files anonymously to a trusted journalist." Daniel nodded slowly. "That could work, but we have to move fast." As night fell, the trio prepared. Maya's phone buzzed again. Another message, one last chance. "Stop now, or everything falls." Her hands trembled as she typed back, "We're not afraid." The response was instant. "You should be." Jade set up the laptop near the window, hacking into the company's security system. Maya and Daniel sat side by side, holding hands for strength. The screen flickered, then showed a live feed of the corporate headquarters. Sterile hallways, empty offices, a faint red light blinking on a secure door. Suddenly, the camera shifted. A man appeared, a tall figure with a cruel smile. Maya gasped. It was her former manager, the woman from the video. "She's the one," Daniel whispered. "She's behind everything," Maya said through clenched teeth. The live feed showed the manager speaking into a phone. Jade zoomed in on her lips, trying to catch the words. Suddenly the screen went black. A warning flashed. "Unauthorized access detected." The system was locking them out. "Cut the connection," Jade said urgently. Maya unplugged the laptop. A loud knock thundered on the door. "Police! Open up!" Maya froze. Daniel looked at her, eyes wide. Jade whispered, "They're here." Hurried to hide the laptop and USB drive, Maya opened the door cautiously. Two officers stood in the hallway, badges shining. "We received a noise complaint," one said. Maya forced a smile. "Must be the neighbors. Sorry to bother you." The officers glanced around, then nodded. "Stay safe," the other said before leaving. The relief was brief. Maya locked the door and sank to the floor. Daniel sighed. "They're closing in." Jade bit her lip. "We can't wait. Tonight's the night." Later that evening, Maya sat alone in the dark, replaying every moment of the last days. The betrayal, the danger, the strange kindness from a stranger she'd never expected. Suddenly, a soft knock came at the window. She startled, then cautiously looked out. A small package was taped to the ledge. Maya pulled it inside. Inside was a note: "Trust no one but me. Meet me at the old pier at midnight." No signature. Her heart pounded. Maya debated, was it a trap? Could she trust this unknown ally? But if they were to win, she had to take the risk. At midnight, Maya wrapped herself in a coat and slipped out. The old pier was cold and empty, except for a solitary figure waiting under a flickering street lamp. "Who are you?" Maya demanded. The figure stepped forward, revealing a woman with kind eyes. "My name is Leah," she said softly. "I worked inside the company too. I want to help." Maya felt a flicker of hope. Leah handed her a folder, thick with documents. "These prove everything," Leah whispered. Suddenly, headlights cut through the fog. A car screeched to a halt. The door opened. "Get down!" Leah hissed. They dove behind crates as figures in dark suits stormed the pier. Gunshots echoed. Maya's breath hitched. Daniel's voice crackled through her phone. "Maya, are you there?" she whispered. "I'm with Leah. Under attack." Leah pulled a small pistol from her jacket. Time to fight back. The gunfire ceased as quickly as it began. The attackers retreated into the mist. Maya and Leah scrambled to the car. Daniel appeared moments later. Breathing heavily. "We have to move," he said. In the safety of their hideout, Maya spread out the documents. Pages upon pages of proof. Financial records, secret memos, photos. The company's darkest secrets were exposed. Maya's eyes filled with tears. They had the truth, but the fight was far from over. Leah looked at Maya. "This is just the beginning." Maya nodded, feeling the weight of what lay ahead. Her world had shattered, but now she was ready to rebuild it. The dawn was fragile, pale light slipping through the cracks of the shuttered windows. Maya sat, hunched over the scattered documents. On the table, her fingers tracing the bold headings: fraud, embezzlement, cover-up. Each page screamed betrayal louder than the last. The company wasn't just corrupt, it was rotten to its core. Daniel rubbed his temples, exhausted but alert. Leah stood by the window, her face grim. Jade, quiet until now, typed furiously at the laptop, trying to send encrypted copies of the files to journalists they could trust. "We have what we need," Leah said quietly. "But this will make us targets for life." Maya swallowed hard. She had lost so much already: her job, her peace, nearly her life. But exposing this, it felt like the one thing that could save her and her son. The hours ticked by with agonizing slowness. Suddenly, Maya's phone buzzed. A new message. "Stop this, or you'll lose everything." And again, no name, no number, just the cold, brutal warning. Maya's hands trembled as she showed the text to the others. Daniel clenched his fists. "They're desperate." Jade looked up. "I managed to send the files to an investigative reporter. We did what we could." Leah's voice was steady. "Now we wait, but they won't back down easily." That afternoon, a black SUV rolled to a stop outside their hideout. Maya froze. Daniel's face hardened. Leah signaled everyone to hide. The door creaked. A familiar voice called out, "Maya? It's me, Emily." Maya's heart skipped. Emily, her best friend from before everything fell apart. She stepped inside cautiously. I heard about what's happening, Emily said. I want to help, but Maya's instincts screamed caution. Why now? Maya asked. Emily's eyes flickered with guilt. I'm sorry for leaving you when things got hard. I was scared. Leah eyed Emily closely. You can't just walk. Back in, Emily nodded. I don't expect you to trust me, but I have information about the board. They're planning something drastic. Maya's breath caught. What? Emily lowered her voice. They want to silence you permanently. That night, the team worked tirelessly, preparing for what was coming. Maya's mind raced. Could Emily be trusted? Or was this another trap? Daniel reached out and squeezed Maya's hand. We'll face this together. Maya nodded, drawing strength from him. Hours later, Maya awoke to the sound of glass shattering. The hideout was under attack. Chaos erupted. Gunshots echoed. Leah grabbed Maya, pulling her toward a back exit. Daniel covered their retreat, firing at the intruders. Jade grabbed the laptop and USB drives. Outside, rain soaked them as they ran into the shadows. They regrouped in an abandoned warehouse. Maya's heart pounded. Emily was missing. Leah turned to Maya. She was a distraction. We're not safe. Daniel's voice was cold. We need a new plan. Maya wiped tears from her cheek. We expose them now, publicly. The next day, the investigative reporter called. Your story is live. The public is reacting. Outrage, disbelief, but they're listening. Maya watched as social media exploded with news of the scandal. Then, a knock at her door. 4 luxury cars gleamed under the streetlights. A man stepped out, the same man in the sharp suit from before. He smiled. I'm here to help. Maya's world tilted. Maya's breath caught as the man in the sharp suit approached her doorstep. The luxury cars gleamed under the dim streetlights, their polished surfaces reflecting the weight of everything that had happened. The man's confident smile didn't reach his eyes. They were cold, calculating, but there was something else, something unreadable. Why are you here? Maya asked, her voice steady despite the whirlwind inside her. He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small envelope. My name is Victor Kane. I'm on the board of the company you've been exposing. But I'm not like the others. I've been watching. You did something none of them expected. Maya eyed him warily. Why help me now? Victor's gaze softened just a bit. Because sometimes it takes someone brave enough to risk everything to wake us up. You saved that man's life when you were jobless. You didn't give up. That integrity is rare, and it made me question my own choices. Inside the elegant leather chairs of the largest car, Maya and Daniel listened as Victor outlined a plan. He would use his influence to ensure the corrupt executives were arrested, their crimes fully exposed, and the stolen funds returned. The evidence Maya and her team had gathered, combined with Victor's inside knowledge, was unstoppable. But Victor warned them, this will be dangerous. They'll fight back. You need protection and allies. Maya nodded, feeling a strange sense of calm. After everything, the betrayal, the near-death moments, the betrayals, there was finally a way forward. She glanced at Daniel, his tired but hopeful smile reflecting her own feelings. That night, Maya sat by the window, watching the city lights flicker. She thought about her journey, from losing her job to saving a stranger's life, to becoming the target of powerful enemies, and now being offered a chance to reclaim her future. Her phone buzzed with a message from Jade. The journalist's article is trending worldwide. People are demanding justice. Maya smiled softly. Justice was coming. Days later, the arrests began. News outlets covered the scandal relentlessly. Maya and her team became symbols of courage and resilience. People who had once doubted her now looked up to her. Leah stayed by her side, proving to be an unwavering ally. One afternoon, Maya received a package at her door. Inside was a simple, elegant ring, the same ring from the luxury car's arrival. Note read, "For your strength, your heart, and the hope you brought back. Keep it as a reminder that even when you lose everything, you can find yourself." Tears filled Maya's eyes as she slipped the ring onto her finger. Sitting with Daniel and Jade, Maya reflected on how far they'd come. Sometimes losing everything is the only way to find who you really are, she said quietly. Daniel nodded. "And you found yourself, Maya, stronger than ever." Months later, Maya reopened her nursing practice, this time with a focus on helping those who had fallen through the cracks, people like her. She looked at her son, smiling in the sunshine streaming through their new home. The darkness had passed, and though scars remained, hope shone brighter than ever. The end.